SK Gaming always have some of the most patient and well-structured retakes I've ever seen. They always have it, they always get it done. They're so calm, they'll get the defuse in with 1 second left. Everything always just seems to be planned out. I'm really interested to see how they do it, so I'm going to try and break down some of their best retakes, going map by map, and we're going to start on train today. To start off with, this retake is going to be on the A site. Just a little bit about the A site. It can be quite hard to retake if you get players positioning themselves around here on the after planet. The bomb obviously normally planted here. The problem with this site is there's so much movement room for the T side. So it's not like Mirage, where you come into Mirage in the A site, you clear out Firebox, you clear out A main, you clear out Sandwich, anyone at Triple, anyone Palace, you just clear out these spots methodically. With Train, you can clear out this Sandwich positioning and then come back this way and have a check. Then while this is all going on, the T can wrap around and you just see it's so much open space, but there's so much cover at the same time, which allows the T side to move around and basically make it so you have to, once you've cleared something, you're not 100% sure it's cleared. As I said, like Mirage, you check no one's Firebox, no one's Firebox. In this situation, there's very few spots on the map where there's definitely going to be no one there. Obviously, the most common after planet spots are this kind of area, E box and here, because they're simply just the strongest line of sight towards the default bomb plant spot. So getting into this one, starts off with Glaive getting 2 entry picks down here in short. Just see he's about to throw this little flashbang down. He goes with it and catches Fur off guard. That's the first thing here. It's quite good. Now they're coming out. Taco gets in front of the smoke. I would say this is a little bit uncharacteristic of Taco and how SK play these. Normally they're quite happy to fall back. You see the rest of the team, they're obviously trapped out by the smokes. Bolts hasn't even rotated yet. But normally they're happy to just fall back out to these smokes. But as I was talking about with Train, because it is quite hard to retake this site, Taco's maybe feeling a bit of pressure. He might think he wants to go for some kind of play here. He trades off one player, but then Glaive does a good job of trading him straight back off here. Now, importantly here, Fallen's up here looking for his information. You see he's trying to cut off that alleyway right here towards Sandwich. You see he's noticed no one's crossed. Dupree does a good job of forcing him back off the angle though. And you see he's forced off. But he's still going to try and get up here and try and stop anyone crossing. You notice Device actually has slipped through here, and he's just there behind the smoke. Cold Zero's up here at the top, and he's trying to cut off these same kind of rotations as Fallen. Fallen just chucks a flash there, ends up catching off Device, and they're trying to create this space now for Bolts. You see Bolts is coming in here from the back of Ivy. He's rotating in the long way to try and lock down these lanes, and you notice we're kind of seeing this start to develop. You got the map coming on. Cold Zero is going to be able to lock down this kind of area. Fallen's going to jump over here and start to look down this way, and then Bolts is going to have his trying to look down these lanes. And that's what I was talking about before. With these movements that the T side can make, if you can just lock down these lanes, obviously they can't move from their position. They're stuck in these different positionings. But again, it all comes down to timing. But yeah, locking down the lanes is a huge part of this. So now we can get into the retake itself. Bolts throws a good molly and then a flash, and you see he's peeking out here. Dupree, I think, feels like he has to try and protect Device here, and you see Fallen ends up getting him, looking in through this sandwich angle. So Dupree peeks out thinking Bolts is going to take out Device, and then Bolts punishes him for that peek, and then Fallen ends up peeking Device off as he's trying to escape through here. He didn't actually die there, I'm not sure the demo system. He dies around this kind of area here. So as we continue this round, we'll see, as I was talking about just before, the lanes start to come into it. They're going to smoke off the bomb. That's what Bolts is going to do here. You see, that again, they're locking down these angles. Fallen's just checked there to the right, and Cold-Zero's out here to the left, checking the bottom of the trains where they already killed Dupree, so they're not expecting too many more players there. Then he's forced to swing back as Glaive comes out. Look at anyone coming out. Pop Dog, obviously they got the 2 players in there, but SK don't know this. So looking up again, you'll see Bolts has got this angle, Fallen's on the bomb, and Cold-Zero's got these angles here. It's getting a bit messy, but so Bolts has got down here and here. They're not worried about this back lane anymore. Fallen's on the bomb here. To get onto him or to kill him, the player's going to have to wrap around this way, and the most likely spot is coming on this way and there. A lot of pressure on Cold Zero. I don't know if this is intentional to put your best player in the server in this kind of situation, but it works out quite well. Bolts is playing a more supportive, make sure no one really gets wrapped onto anything, obviously with the 2 players left alive. So Cold's able to win this first fight here, full blind, and you see things are going to go down. He actually ends up going down. He's going to presume another one's in pop, going to take it down, and Bolts is going to retrade Zipex, who's too slow, and Fallen's got the defuse off. That was probably a lot to take in, so I'll try and break it down as simply as possible just to finish off here. So obviously Cold Zero cleared out this back red container where Dupree was already killed, so they're not worried about this peak here. Cold Zero has to worry about Pop Dog, very likely possible, and that's where he ends up focusing most of his attention. Bolts is back here, and he can watch anyone crossing from this back of the blue train area. Another very common spot. One thing to know about this spot is it doesn't have a direct line of sight to the bomb. This train's in the road, so you're forced to swing out a little bit, and that's where Bolts would have come into play, cutting off anyone pushing out that way. As I said, the quite unlikely approach is someone wrapping around this way, but again, very unlikely that would actually happen. When Cold Zero's obviously got towards pop in here, the one opening they had in this retake was someone peeking out left side E-box and peeking onto Fallen that way. Again, he has to shoot through the smoke, which was dropped very well. Well timed. SK are very good at saving at least one smoke for these retake scenarios. But yeah, that was the only one opening there. Luckily for them, there was no one at Eggbox who did that. coldzera is able to lock down here, and Zipex is simply too slow. And you'll see again, even with Boltz's positioning back here, he's still got the line of sight towards Pop Dog, where he can adjust to if coldzera does go down. That's exactly what he does. Even though Fallen had already got the defuse off, Boltz is able to take down Zipex, and the round is theirs. Now, the B site is a little less complicated. You see here, he would have got the call out, Fur would have, that no one had smoked. That's actually a really nice shot there. Look at him floating mid-air, but we'll continue. You would have got the note that no one smoked off this ramp area. T-side often does this, so Fur's decided to throw this smoke here, just for his teammates to be able to rotate out early. He's a little bit too aggressive out the smoke and gets picked off, pushing this into a 3v3 situation. So if we move on now, we'll see Taco, Fallen, and coldzera start to position themselves again in this kind of lane setup. You see Taco's got this one, Fallen's got down here, and coldzera's on top of this train. Important thing to note, SK on the B retakes always leaves someone up in this coldzera position. The reason being, if you look at his position up here, up on here you have a line of sight towards here and the ramp area. And basically this is important because look, Yell and Showtime are both here, and every team always pretty much leaves at least one player up in these holes area. And they're normally the last person alive, so if you're up in this position, you can adjust accordingly. Depending on what goes down here, coldzera is able to peek both, protect his teammates. Say Taco goes down and Fallen's forced to stick the bomb, he's able to protect both ways. Or whatever goes on here, maybe Taco's left in a position where he can only watch lower, he's able to adjust accordingly. So if we continue on the round, we'll see again, as I was saying, we've got the 3 players, all with different lanes coming down here. And as this goes on, Taco and Fallen work as a bit of a 2-man unit down this left-hand side, while coldzera just locks down the top. So you see Taco pushes down along the left-hand side, while Fallen's on top, and they pick off this first play pretty easily. Now this retake's a little bit unique since both the players left are up top. So see here, Fallen just decides to stick the bomb. Again, Molotov down to lower ramp is really useful. Fallen just taps in this situation. They have heaps of time, you know, so went for this retake a lot quicker than normal. coldzera gets the first pick up top. Taco decides to start sticking it, and that's all it is. And that's exactly the position that coldzera is there for. He's there to pick off these players coming down ramp or up or whatever. And in the end, a really good retake with the 2 players pushing on the left-hand side, with coldzera just watching down this right-hand side. Now the thing about the B-bomb side is there's not many places for the T side to go. You'll notice if you don't want to get really aggressive up to this kind of area, you're forced to play behind this train and this train. That's about all the cover you're going to get. Of course, the halls as well as talking about before. So a lot of teams decide to get aggressive up here. And one thing SK do very well is, as you saw in the last clip, they just sit back along the back of these trains. If anyone tries to get aggressive, they try and pick them off into these positions. And usually, obviously, teams can't get aggressive up into these areas without crossing down one of these laneways, which you have eyes on. So you're going to get the information of where they are, or you're potentially going to kill them. So in this situation here, Fallen decides he wants to go for this pick, and he's just going to win this fight here, which obviously helps him out a lot in a 4v3. Now you'll see, Fallen possibly, I think Fallen definitely saw him there, he got that information, because you look, he's very aware of this player being below here. Fur's moved on, and look at him, he's just locked onto this right hand side, seeing if anyone's going to move, if Cello's going to move in this situation. And again, we have Mr. coldzera up here, being the Overwatch. As I said before, very good for these 2 lanes are here, but it's also very good for locking down these 2 lanes. A lot of times I've been playing retake or whatever, and players like to wrap around this way. With coldzera here, that's not really an option. He's going to potentially and hopefully pick them off trying to do that. So Taco in this situation is going for a flank. He does get pushed away. So again, SK very calm in their retakes. They're going to let him rotate back in. However, Fallen says enough is enough. He's going to go a little bit early and just going to get these couple of picks off. And you'll see, obviously Fallen again pushing down the left-hand side seems to be the position they like to push. Fur is also up in this left-hand side of this cold train, and he's just now, they know he has to be up in the pools because he was just fighting Taco a second ago. coldzera's got towards lower, same with Taco, and basically this is a lockdown. You see coldzera again, Taco's committed to the lower ramp, Fur's committed to the upper ramp, and coldzera's at this in-between where he can swing either way. And the round pretty much finishes up like that. Fur is able to fight him off, and even with him hitting a few nice shots, it was really impossible at the end, with Taco as well being able to sit up and actually get the kill in the end. So again, just to finish this one off, I want to show you what the real aggression looks like. VP gets super aggressive in this situation. You see, Boltz and Fur are quite happy to just play the long-range pistol game, which is smart with the USPs. So see the take comes in, that's a good Molotov to stop the rotates in that kind of situation. Taco's just going to try and pick him off, and he does quite a good job here. He gets one, Fur's able to get some information, and now what we're seeing here is the VP aggression. Bialy and Snacks are pushed up, and this is what I was talking about. Very limited positioning here. In this situation, there's no one in the halls. VP have gone for a more aggressive style, actually what VP are known for, and you'll see Boltz and Fur, look at them, they're still just in this very passive position. Fur hasn't moved an inch. No one's pushed down the left-hand side, and he knows this. So the rest of his teammates, they would concentrate here. Taco's under a little bit of pressure here. He's being fought, as you can see. But even with Taco going down, they're able to reposition here. And again, Fallen and Boltz both double peeking quite smartly. One of them does go down here. You'll see they're both peeking this angle, trying to take out Bialy, and Snacks is still there. And Bolts does go down, but you'll see they're able to reposition themselves. Fur is the important piece in this situation. He hasn't moved an inch. He's getting a lot of information where these players are pushed up. Cold Zero is about to be in a bit of trouble. He could be, except he's further back. And you'll see he is actually a lot further back. I actually didn't notice that the first time around. And this further back position makes it harder for him to get caught off guard. See here, look at that. That's really nice because he is so far back. Bialy's not expecting that. Fur, again, from his overarching position out here, is able to get the first one. They know where Bialy is. Fur has spotted him, and this is basically game over. He's able to push around, and Cold Zero picks him off quite nicely. So that's what I was talking about there. Just that real passive stance they got. They're able to sit all the way back. Cold Zero really far back. Happy with themselves, Fur not moving an inch, and just this patience and ability not to move and not panic enough is one of the reasons they are so good at retaking, just in general, but on the B side in particular, because there are so few positions for the T side to sit. This can be very important, just allowing them not to push up too far, or if they do, get a lot of information and make it quite uncomfortable for them. So that's it for this one, guys. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. I've actually started up a Discord, which I'll link below. Basically, I might play some games with you guys. We'll see. But if you just want to hang out there with other people, maybe check it out. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.